Coming up tonight on the news at 6. Lewis and Clark County Commissioners finally approved a set of contested zoning regulations for the Helena Valley, but not before making one big change. Plus,
Lewis and Clark Public Health says it's received some complaints about spectators not following health rules at some high school games.
From Montana's news leader, this is MTN News at 6.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the News at 6. I'm Andy Curtis.
And I'm Marian Davidson. Thanks for joining us this evening. Well, new tonight, Lewis and Clark County Commissioners approved new zoning rules for the Helena Valley, but they've made some changes in response to the criticisms the plan received. MTN's Jonathan Ambarian looks at what they implemented and what comes next.
On Tuesday, county commissioners said they still see zoning as a key tool for managing growth in the Helena Valley, but they were willing to delay the most contentious provision of their zoning proposal to give stakeholders a chance to propose more changes. The Lewis and Clark County Commission met for about 5 hours, discussing, amending, and finally approving a county-initiated zoning plan for the valley.
This is a monumental moment for Lewis and Clark County.
Commissioners began by providing their justifications for moving forward with zoning. They argued planning for growth and limiting development density in rural areas were the best ways to address issues like fire protection, water, and roads.
Even though this job is hard, work has been bitter in some cases, it's our duty to do this today.
The proposed plan will create 3 zoning districts, one urban, one suburban, and one rural, across much of southern Lewis and Clark County. It includes a variety of regulations on things like allowable land uses and building heights. During the public hearing process, many valley landowners criticized the plan, saying it would put too many restrictions on property owners and threaten property values. The most controversial provision would have created a minimum lot size of 10 acres in the rural district. However, commissioners agreed to delay that change until June 2022, while they put together a working group to consider possible alternatives.
We will extend them the opportunity to take their turn at suggesting ways that, in their opinion, may work to accomplish their stated mutual goals to address the challenges that exist in the Helena Valley planning area in a way that is congruent with the growth policy.
Jerry Hamlin, a Helena developer, was among the critics of the zoning plan. He told MTN he saw the commission's decision to delay the 10-acre limit as a step in the right direction.
I appreciate the fact that the county commissioners took in the opponent's testimony and ideas in the final decision that they made today on this plan.
Now that the Commission has approved a resolution of intention to implement the zoning regulations, there will be a 30-day protest period before the Commission takes final action next month. In Helena, Jonathan Ambarian, MTN News.
The Commission also approved another change to the plan, relaxing some of the proposed restrictions for home-based businesses.
And now with a look at our weather out there, Chief Meteorologist Curtis Grevenitz.
Well, another day with high fire danger here across the state, and another day with growth on the Yogo fire here. This was an aerial shot from a plane looking down at the Yogo fire using infrared technology to kind of assess just how many acres have burned. But looking at that, looks like that was a pretty hot fire. And still is pretty hot as the wind was really howling out there for the entire state and especially into the little belts here. Good news is we get a little break tomorrow in the wind. There you can see tomorrow morning, very, very light wind. Think out of the east, maybe 5 or 10 miles per hour. That's about it for tomorrow. But heading into Thursday, another very windy day, and already looking like red flag warnings will be issued here for most of the state east of the Continental Divide. That wind fanning the flames here over the next couple of days. We do get that little break on a Wednesday. This coming weekend, some welcomed wet weather. Let you know which day will be better to be outside, and chilly changes. We haven't had much in the way of typical fall weather thus far, but it's coming. More on the forecast also coming up.
Late this afternoon, Montana recorded its 200th death from COVID-19. Health officials in Missoula County reported the death. Local health departments in Bighorn, Cascade, Flathead, Glacier, and Missoula counties have reported deaths that are not yet reflected in the state's numbers. Today, Montana also recorded 504 new cases of the virus over a 24-hour period, a new one-day record, and the second time in less than a week that the state has seen numbers above 500. Today's cases, along with updates from local county health departments, brings the total number of active cases to just over 5,000, with 216 people hospitalized. The Helena Public Schools' current COVID numbers stand at a total of 18. 11 of those are staff and 7 are students who have all tested positive for the coronavirus. Helena High School has the most of any school, with 3 staff and 3 students testing positive. All other schools with cases have 2 or less. And on Monday, October 5th, Helena Public Schools received an order for corrective action from Lewis and Clark Public Health. The order alleged that spectators at some sporting events were out of compliance with rules aimed at preventing the spread of COVID-19. MTN's Sam Hoyle shows us what the district needs to do now.
On October 5th, Lewis and Clark Public Health said in an order of corrective action to Helena Public Schools that on both September 14th and September 28th, they had received complaints stemming from spectators not abiding by the guidelines that the district and the county had set forth for COVID-19 mitigation. Helena Public Schools is now not only required to ensure physical distancing between spectators and the use of face coverings by all spectators, but now, due in part to the order, they're also required to submit an addendum to the existing plan to show how the requirements will be met. Something Helena Public Schools Activities Director Tim McMahon says will be an interesting task to complete.
We're making public service announcements at games to follow the rules. Yes, we have administrators, myself and other administrators, who are reminding people, please pull your mask up and socially distance. So I'm not really sure the answer yet to what else can we do or will we do. We're going to come up with something.
MTN Sports reached out to Lewis and Clark Public Health in regards to the order that was sent to Helena Public Schools. The Lewis and Clark Public Health Officer Drendan Neiman said in a statement, open quote, "There's no indication school district staff are failing to follow the plan perfectly. They are actively managing crowds and reminding spectators of the rules. However, Lewis and Clark Public Health received complaints indicating a few non-compliant spectators who choose not to follow the expectations laid out by the district, which puts others at risk. The district can only do so much to gain compliance and hold spectators accountable. Fans need to help them by doing the right thing, by taking personal responsibility and following the district's rules." As a result of the order of corrective action, McMahon said in a statement that he's asked all coaches at Helena High and Helena Capital convey to the parents of the student athletes on their teams the necessity to comply with the guidelines, and that if they don't comply 100%, there's a chance that the county could strip spectating plans altogether. And while McMahon says that's not something he wants to do, if that's the only way to keep student athletes on the field or on the court this fall, he certainly will.
These are volleyball games or football games or soccer games or cross-country races. They're not a political statement. These are about kids being able to play.
Reporting in Helena, Sam Hoyle, MTN Sports.
Well, more residents at a local senior care facility have tested positive for COVID-19. 6 residents at the Benefice Eastview Care Center now have the virus. As we've reported, the hospital announced over the weekend 3 residents had tested positive. All residents have been tested, and their vital signs are now being checked 3 times a day instead of 2. 7 staff members have also now tested positive. Only 2 were showing symptoms when they were tested. Staff members are now being tested for the virus twice a week.
We've taken every precaution that the CDC and CMS has given us, their guidelines, plus more, to try to keep our residents safe. When we had the first resident turn positive on Friday, it was gut-wrenching because we thought we have done everything possible.
We reached out to the health department to see if any other local senior care facilities have reported positive cases, but we've not heard back.
And get ready for the holiday shopping season to start in a hurry. Big box stores like Target, Walmart, and Best Buy are all preparing for October sales to help customers start their holiday shopping. Some stores planned their sales to compete with Amazon's Prime Day next week. Retailers say they also want to avoid large crowds of shoppers during the pandemic. Retailers expect sales to decrease from last year because so many people remain out of work due to lockdowns.
And still ahead on the news at 6, we head to the VA Center where hundreds of flu shots were given out today. Why nurses say now more than ever you should be getting a flu shot.
News leader. You're watching MTN News at 6.
Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for joining us here this evening. Hundreds of flu shots were given out at the Montana VA Medical Center today. MTN's John Riley met with frontline nurses who say now more than ever is the time to get a flu shot.
It was a busy Tuesday morning at the Montana VA Medical Center at Fort Harrison as car after car lined up for influenza vaccinations. This is the 10th year the Montana VA has held their drive-through flu shot clinic, with more than 800 vaccinations given at the same drive-through clinic last year. Registered nurse Katie Temple says with COVID having similar symptoms to influenza, this year is more important than ever to get vaccinated.
And so it's super important to get your flu shot to protect yourself, but also to protect those who are in your life that might be immunocompromised over the age of 65. Those other people around you that you might not even think that you could spread the flu virus to, even if you don't get sick.
While most people that contract influenza every year are able to recover without major complications, some do not. In Montana, there were 26 confirmed influenza deaths last flu season, with hundreds of hospitalizations across the state. Temple says getting vaccinated helps reduce the chance of those who are most at risk, the elderly and young children, from contracting the virus. Earlier this year, Temple was deployed to Arizona to help with the COVID response of the Navajo Nation. The Navajo Nation was hit particularly hard by COVID, currently reporting more than 1,000 positive cases with over 500 deaths. Temple said bluntly, influenza and COVID together could overwhelm the healthcare system.
All I can think is it would just multiply because the symptoms are very similar. And if you put the flu on top of COVID-19, the impact on the healthcare system would be huge.
If you're a member of VA Healthcare and you weren't able to get a flu shot, know that shots are available across the state at VA clinics. If you're not a member of VA Healthcare, shots are also available at pharmacies, your doctor, or public health. Reporting at Fort Harrison, John Riley, MTN News.
All right, now let's head over to Chief Meteorologist Curtis Grevenitz for what's coming up in weather.
Well, we've got wind and warmth and high fire danger over the next few days. However, some changes, wet and maybe even a little wintry, headed our way this weekend. More in the forecast coming up.
Starts now with Chief Meteorologist Curtis Grevenitz.
All right, welcome back, everybody. A record high, at least tied the record high in Helena today, set back in 1960. Who remembers that? We hit 84 degrees, and today we tied the record high of 84. It was, and still is, a warm one, 80 degrees outside right now. Average high should be about 65, the average low 36 degrees. That was another record Helena had today, 53 this morning, which was a record warm overnight temperature. Still some gusty winds up to 28 miles per hour. A fire would literally take off in conditions like this. Great Falls, what a nice sky, 76 degrees, southwest wind of 13 miles per hour. Great Falls was 1 degree off of the record high, tying the record high today. Still a lot of 70s and 80s out there, pretty much all across the state. It was a warm one, not only in Montana, but throughout a lot of the west here as well. A windy one. Notes the wind beginning to die down here up along the high line. Well, there is a cold front that is working its way southward into the state that will ease up the wind a bit and also switch the wind direction around. We're still under red flag warning here for the rest of this evening. However, a lot of this same area will likely be looking at red flag warning conditions for Thursday. There's that front starting to move down into the northern part of the state. Not much, if any, precipitation will fall into the state here. The latest on the Yogo fire, this was producing a pretty healthy smoke plume. Firefighters are hitting it very, very hard from the air today. Almost 3,000 acres. Check back in later tonight. We'll hopefully have an updated amount of acreage that has burned because it grew out there today. But once again, those firefighters really hammered it from the air and from the ground. Quiet weather here across the country. Down by Cancun, Hurricane Delta, 145 mile per hour winds. It's headed towards the Gulf Coast, maybe Louisiana coming up this weekend. Headed towards Montana. We've got some smoke moving back late Wednesday night and Thursday coming from those big fires in California. The good news is that smoke should be blown out of here during the day on Friday. More good news, I'm full of it today, We've got Northern California seeing rain on the wildfires there, so hopefully that will stop being a source of wildfire smoke here for us. Looking at tomorrow, a nice sunny day, calmer wind generally out of the east. Thursday, the wind is back though through the afternoon. Red flag warning conditions, very critical fire danger for Thursday again. Friday, a little break in the wind, so the wind and the fire danger going back and forth here a bit. And then here comes some of that rain into California, Washington, and Oregon, and it moves into western Montana late Saturday night. Rain showers moving across the state into Sunday morning with higher elevation snow. A little sun on Sunday with some wind as well, and then another system coming in on Monday. Here's the forecast for tonight. Temperatures down into the 30s and the 40s with mainly clear skies, maybe a few clouds far northeastern Montana. A few more hours of wind in the central part of the state, a few more hours of wind around Helena. Here's the forecast for tomorrow. A really nice day. Temperatures in the 60s and the 70s. Light wind, that's probably the best thing about it, but mostly sunny skies for Thursday. The wind is back, the fire danger is back. We're in the 70s and the 80s. Maybe another couple of records could fall for Friday. Slightly cooler, less wind, but still pretty nice. And then here we go Saturday. Here comes the cold front. Chilly weather further west with some rain showers. Most of the state partly cloudy for most of the day. Breezy and warm, but that certainly does change as we get into Sunday. Look at that drop in temperature. Some scattered rain showers on Sunday in the lower elevations with some higher elevation snow showers. Same goes for later Monday into Tuesday as the cooler, more typical fall pattern continues. And for Great Falls, watch the fire danger the next few days, and then fall really arrives on Sunday.
Sounds good, Curtis. Thanks for that. And coming up next, at a time when internet access has become so important, the Missoula Library is pitching in to make it more available.
Montana's news leader. You're watching MTN News at 6.
Welcome back to the News at 6. There is something new to check out at the Missoula Library, and nope, it is not a book, it's Wi-Fi. MTN's Connor McCauley reports.
The internet has become one of the most precious commodities during the pandemic. Because of that, the Missoula Public Library is offering hotspots for checkout. Between the Missoula Public Library's Missoula location and its branches, over 100 hotspots are available for checkout. The hotspots can be checked out for a period of 2 weeks and cannot be renewed, but you can check one in and check another out if they are available. It's an extremely valuable tool, especially at a time when other internet access services have become unavailable.
There are a lot of services out there that have been limited quite a bit by the pandemic, and so having this device you can just check out and use for 2 weeks straight with all the internet you need is really helpful to a lot of people, including kids.
Funding for the hotspots was made possible due to a grant from the Library Services and Technology Act and some help from Verizon and T-Mobile. In Missoula, Connor McCauley, MTN News.
We'll finish things up here when we come back.
News leader. You're watching MTN News at 6.
Welcome back, everybody. I got a riddle for you. What's orange, weighs a whole lot, and is the largest on record in Wisconsin? That's right, it's the Great Pumpkin, of course. And just in time for the fall season, this Wisconsin-grown pumpkin weighs, get ready for this, 2,015 pounds. Jim Ford grew this huge pumpkin and says at one point the Great Pumpkin was growing 52 pounds a day and the vines grew nearly a foot a day. Ford recently got first place at the River Prairie Ginormous Pumpkin Festival in Altoona in September with this ginormous pumpkin. It is his biggest so far, but he wants to keep growing larger.
That's why we call him the Riddler in the newsroom. He's always throwing out those little riddles at us. 70 degrees tomorrow, Great Falls, lighter wind and slightly less fire danger. The fire danger is back on Thursday as the wind increases, and we've got the wind to change blowing here this weekend. 82 Saturday, watch that fire danger. Sunday, much cooler with mixed rain and snow showers.
All right, and that does it for the News at 6.
We'll see you back here at 10.